Hey, bud. What's going on? Well, hello.
Welcome back to
Frost Talk.
with the littlest Frost,
Oliver. So, obviously, slightly different format. We got a little co-host this time around, but that means we don't have to be quite as quiet as during the day, so we don't have to worry about waking up the toddler who is at Nana's house right now. So, wins all around.
Yeah, we didn't just dump her someplace.
Right.
Like be like, here's a coffee shop, have fun.
So, I guess first off, maybe what's been going on in the world of gaming in our lives, our life.
Last night was a difficult night.
Yeah.
I played my first PAX premiere.
She did.
And Wakan did not care for us.
Wakan had plans for Afghanistan that we were not a part of. Let's just say that. Yeah, I had played 3 games against Wakan just solo to kind of learn the systems, and it's pretty amazing how different the game can be based on what cards are in the game. And it was a situation I had yet to see with just like a 9-card court, a fleet that we could not penetrate and do anything with or to. And yeah, Wakan was sort of just as I put it afterwards, I told Kate that not all games with Wakan feel like the older kids on a playground are beating up on you, but that one definitely did. But a more positive thing, a week ago, we had our 3rd annual
Pumpkin.
A song.
Pumpkin.
Ooh, nice.
Polka.
Channeling fanfare for the common man there at the end.
A little bit.
That's not the right key. But yeah, so 3rd annual PumpCon, obviously a little different this year.
Thanks, COVID. But
COVID.
It turned out great.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day.
We were outside.
Outside.
Wore masks.
70s. Wore masks. We played pitch car. Flicky racing on our table out on the deck. We played a game of Dusk City Outlaws. Kind of a role-playing game designed to be played in the space of a board game, where you are fantasy Ocean's 11ing, and that was a lot of fun.
And for someone who's never really done that before, and another gentleman in our group, it's a good segue, role-playing game.
Yeah.
So what? Dusk City
Outlaws.
Dusk City Outlaws. Highly recommend. You got to commit to it, but it's not.
Not as much as other role-playing games.
Listen to this. It is not to the extent of a D&D campaign. Wow.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then we played because I was the judge, so I was not part of the criminal operation, but the rest of the group was. And so we finished with a game of Cash and Guns, kind of on the theme of less than the right side of the law type people, but in that one a little less cooperative. And the same friend who it was his first time doing role-playing in a long time, he has a little bit of a habit of being a doomsayer in our group. Thank you for cleaning the knee of my pants. And kind of calling out the opposite of king making, where if he thinks that someone's getting ahead, he just keeps bringing it up to the table just to make sure people feel the same way. And he was turning to, hi, bud.
Big sigh.
Big sigh. Content creation is tough. And the first 2 rounds, so Cash and Guns, where you're holding the foam guns at each other, and if you get shot or you dive down, you don't get to help split up the loot for that round. And the first 2 rounds, I had 2 or more pistols aimed at me. Nothing had happened in the game, and there were 3 people who were aiming at me. And I was like, well, surely not everybody, no one's using an actual bullet this time around, and 2 of them were. And then the next round, there were 2 people who still had their pistol at me, and I was the only one who didn't get any loot from so apparently the fact that, I was the rules teacher, everyone just assumed I was a threat. Turns out I was, because I won the game. That one friend was incredibly, totally right that I was the threat at the table, but still got it. Messy hands. Yeah, learn our colors.
We charge extra though for our content if we include colors, so they have to subscribe and pay a fee to learn about colors. So
yeah, and
link below if you want to pay an extra.
Actually, you have to opt out of it. So if it's color, don't worry about it. We just assumed you wanted to pay extra because you didn't say black and white. So
got it. Nice.
That's the kind way of doing business. Speaking of business, should we get on to the business of talking about games?
Yeah.
All right. Number 1.
Should I close my eyes?
You can open them.
Wow.
What's that? I know. It's cool artwork.
It is fun. It's fun. This game, I am always willing and ready to play.
Yeah.
It is not, it was like, oh, I'm not necessarily in the mood for it. Oh, and again, sometimes with children and just busy lives, you don't have to have kids to be tired. But some games are more of a commitment, and this is just good, clean fun.
Yeah. And
especially when you win, and I sometimes win this one.
It's true. We're really, actually, incredibly close. But, like, within 0.33.
It's incredible.
Points. We're 50-50 over 12 games, so.
Are we really 50-50 now?
Mm-hmm.
I know what game we're playing tonight.
And look how pretty, so.
Be careful.
Hold it up. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. I don't know how that's coming through on the camera. But you have these, the cool gems. I don't know how that's coming through either. But it comes with the metal coins, which are always fun to have metal coins. But really, the artwork of the actual cards. So the 10-cent version of what's going on is you are collecting these crystals and turning them into other crystals. So you can then make these golems that do things like pull trains in this world or be playgrounds. There's a pretty wide variety of what golems can do in this game. Also, smash rocks. And so there's different rarities of the crystals. You kind of turn certain ones into other ones, and as soon as you have enough, you can cash them in for golems, and that's where you get your points. It is a re-skinning, a re-theming of Century Spice Road.
Which I have not played, but I hear this is better.
Yeah, it's just prettier. I mean, I guess if you're really into kind of bland, Mediterranean sort of trading, then that's great. I mean, PAX Premier is amazing. I'm clearly not against that that aesthetic. Thank you. But I mean, it's just so cool. All these, the golems and the crystals are, I think, quite a bit cooler than little cubes. Even though those bowls that come in the original one are, I think, more usable than these. We've never actually used these bins because they're not quite big enough to grab, and every time it's just and the crystals go all over. And usually we're playing when our kids are asleep. And
our daughter's room is right next to the table we play at, so
we are essentially playing a secretive game of Don't Wake Daddy anytime we play anything or do anything in the evenings.
Yep. And
except as Don't Wake
the children.
So I don't know if you actually know this, if I've told you, but there are, so the original Century, it's like a crazy Frankenstein creation because there are 2 other games. I don't know what they're called, but one is like a worker placement where you're putting your dudes around to do things, and the other one is like a pick up and deliver sort of idea where you're moving a ship around, and they're all in that theme, and you can plug them together. So you can play Century and the second one, Century and the third one.
Whoa.
The second and third, or you can play all 3 of them together into increasingly more elaborate games. And they did, or they are at some point soonish, I think. Hot tips for news right here.
Wow.
Soonish, they might be coming out with the second one, but in the Golem version. And I think it looks pretty pretty interesting. I know that there are some people who are bent out of shape because the Plan B games originally said they were not going to continue the trifecta of the games for the Golem theming. So people are like, well, I want those other ones, so I guess I have to do the non-Golem one. And then they were like, wink, just kidding, we're going to do it. And so I know that people were not thrilled, but it's a really interesting thing that neither of us have experienced, but it's out there. So we'll talk about our reviews in a second, but we have our second game.
He's having a good time now, too.
Okay, you know.
And I think I know what game this is. It's a Ganymede.
It is.
I knew he was bringing it.
See, Oliver, yeah. Isn't that cool?
No, it's bad.
Isn't that cool, bud?
Okay, can I start?
Yes.
It's one of the worst games I've ever played. I hate it. I hate it. A dark side of me comes out, and that's not okay. I don't care what it looks like. It is awful. I can't stress how sad it makes me.
That is, I can
It makes
vouch
me
for
really
that.
sad. Like, I almost cried a couple times after. Not because I lost, but because I'm so incredibly bad at it. I don't know how you win. I don't know how you get points. I have asked for feedback, constructive criticism. No. We can't play it anymore. No. I look at it and you know what? I can't. I look at it and I go, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I can do it. No, I can't do it. I can't.
And I got the credit, so I put these two together on purpose because now this is, I'm not going to say this is like Century, but in space, because that's not what it is. But I felt like it was a slight departure from that, because Century, like,
No.
we can.
Yeah, but there's a couple other layers that just don't click in my brain parts, and
because it's like the layer of like actions that you can choose to acquire, and then like the processing. Where in Century, that's like crystals. In this one, you're sending different people from Earth to Mars
to Ganymede.
And if there's like this set collection thing along the bottom, there's this like achievement track that you can do stuff here. There are these two rockets, when you blast them off, there are special things there.
And you know how I knew you were doing this one?
Wow.
I was at the Minneapolis Institute of Art yesterday, and
That's right.
there was a photo that I took a photo of a statue of Ganymede and the eagle.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm not even joking, when you were getting the games, so I closed my eyes and he puts the games under the couch.
That sounds like Ganymede.
No. I knew it.
Not today!
I won't play
And
it.
there's an expansion that sounds interesting that she will never, ever play. I think this game is broken from
It's broken.
our relationship standpoint. It's funny because the first time we played, things did not pan out, but that happens. Like,
That happens a lot of times. Like, I'll play a game and usually,
Right.
very rarely do I win a first time. I have.
Or-
But I learn a lot. Like PAX Premiere last night.
Mhm.
I lost. Big time. But I don't despise it.
Right.
I don't feel less than. This makes me question who I am as a person. Like, I hate it so much. I went to college.
Trying to cover. It's okay.
I am like a functioning adult. I am a mother of two. I keep people alive on a day-to-day basis. And
But
this game,
get them to Ganymede, a bridge too far.
I can't do it. It broke me.
Sirs and madams.
It broke me. I hate it.
Yeah. And the first time we played, so it was like, okay, got it. I could tell that, because even though it does happen, like, less than, like, amazing first plays, I can usually get a somewhat of a read on how, it went. And I was like, I don't think she super enjoyed that. And then I can't remember if it was the second or third time.
Because we had given it a fair shot. It wasn't just a one and done thing. Oh, we tried.
And one of the
And
times
I really tried.
she did. After it was like pretty well known that she did not enjoy the game. I had mentioned it because I was like, I think I'm good. Like, we'll have like instead of a debriefing about, oh, when you did that, what if you tried this in the future? Like, it's like, here are some like pro tips that maybe you could try.
yeah.
And she
And it
was
wasn't
like,
condescending.
sure,
I was like,
Ganymede.
yes.
And come to find out, like halfway through the game, when she was like very visibly not having a good time, she was like, I thought it was Ganymede was a different game. And I was like, why? You could have told
me. He set
me.
it all up, and I'm like, oh, and
know.
Kyle sets up the games. I'm really lazy when it comes to games. I just play, and he sets them up and tears them down. So he sets it up, and I stroll up to the table. I'm like, oh no,
I've made a huge
I
mistake.
made a huge mistake. I thought it was another space board game. It's this one.
It's not.
And that was when I almost cried. And it's not that I lose. It's just I'm so bad at it, and I treasure our time playing that even if I lose, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It should at least still be fun to play. This is it. Needless to say, do you have to go potty?
No, I'm gonna stop and make sure that I restart a video.
Got it.
I don't have to go potty.
Like I said, I'm a mom.
So that's Ganymede. But ooh.
You can't win them all.
Now turning the games into movies and or musical theater.
Ooh, I forgot about this part.
Now, do we want it to just like the negative into positive? Do we want to start with Ganymede?
Yes.
Okay, so I can start.
Okay, you start. Okay.
So I have two that come to mind, and I really like the artwork of this game.
And you like the game.
I do enjoy the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and like just how stark it is with like the very basic 3D like shapes that remind me of like Terminal Velocity, the games like growing up, and Descent and everything. But I think of Moon.
Oh, that's a really good movie.
With Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey, who's also not one of your favorites.
He's no one's favorite now.
one's
I've
favorite
never
now.
liked Kevin Spacey.
But
it's a great movie.
But it's really cool, and then Interstellar.
That's a good one too.
And both of those, because getting to the moon isn't necessarily like, we did it. Like, it's not like Apollo 13. It's like, that's just like a step on the way to something else. And also in Interstellar, you get like kind of that timeline of like leading up to that point. Because that's how the game works. You're like first having to get your engine up and running to get your guys to the moon, and then there's like a different set of cards that get them to Ganymede.
Do I grab them Jungle Tales?
Sure.
Okay, so if we're gonna go movie route,
You can go either.
Okay, movie route, I'm probably gonna say Apollo 13, only because Houston, we have a problem. I hate it so much, and they had to abandon ship and just get home, and that's how I feel about this game. Also, if we're doing it with songs, moves like Jagger, moves like Jagger. Moves like Jagger. I hate that song, and I hate this game.
The depths of how much she dislikes
I
that
hate
game.
it.
She does not like that song.
I hate that song. And I love board games. Hate this game. Like Maroon 5. Hate that song. So that's how I sum that up.
Can't win them all.
Nope.
Whereas
I can't win any of them.
my grandma once said, infamously to my other grandma, who was a diehard Badger fan when the Badgers lost, either getting into the Rose Bowl or at the Rose Bowl, my other grandma, who did not follow football at all, turned to her and just said, well, somebody's got to lose, thinking that'd be like, here's this Band-Aid. The other grandma was like, whack! Not literally, but figuratively, like hit the Band-Aid out of her extended hand. Okay, so Century.
I know.
Okay.
Just the artwork reminds me a little bit of Iron Giant.
Yeah.
You are who you choose to be. Superman.
Yeah. Does it? Oh, okay. So one thing about this game, you've had this for a little while now. It smells terrible.
Let me smell. Yeah, if you put your nose right up to it, but it's not like when you open the game, you're like, my life.
It's like there's just a never drying puddle of whiteout in the box. Just always smelling like it. Or an open marker.
Disclaimer, you stuck your face in the box. Oh.
Are you boycotting sitting there
Ooh.
in that way?
Oh, man.
Poopadoo?
I don't know if we have a poopadoo. Classic parent move.
While she's doing that, I don't have one in particular, but I think it's very Miyazaki-esque, like Howl's Moving Castle, Princess
I think it's
Mononoke.
just a bad fart.
So, rip a bad fart.
Oh, man.
And I feel like it could very easily be turned into something like that, where like some upstart, like kid of a crystal miner is like going to bring crystal, like my neighbor, the Golem, and like bringing, like he's like one crystal short, so he's like can't quite walk super well, and so the kid brings like crystal and plugs it in him, and then they're like buds. So that's what I think of. Not a movie in particular, just like what could be.
Cool.
So time to rate them.
Okay.
So like 2 thumbs is like you will do everything you can to avoid this game. Spoiler. 1 thumb is you're probably going to like actively push against it like pretty hard if someone brings it up to play, but like if everybody else is like no, we want to play this game, you're not gonna like, you might actually I guess sit out or go do something else, but you also might not. No thumbs is it just depends on your mood, the group.
Okay.
Or 2 thumbs up is if you have like an unlimited amount of time with like your ideal game group. If that was the one game you played, you would feel good about that time.
Cool.
1 thumb up is like you are always or almost always up for it. But if you had that sort of situation and someone's like, what about this game? You might go,
Okay.
what about this other game instead? Or this game plus another.
Got it.
So
All right.
it's a pretty nebulous system, to be honest. Okay, so Century,
Yes.
first one. So again, we're closing our eyes because middle school teachers, and then we will put them up. So there's Century.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Set. Open.
I have 2 up. Oliver just took it 1.
So 2 and a baby. That's
That's
pretty
a
high.
lot. You gave it 1?
I gave it 1.
Okay.
I mean, what I really do like it's funny, we didn't mention it before, I meant to, but how there are times when we play the game where, I mean, we've gotten it down pretty streamlined
We like
to be like
talks
15 minutes, like under 20 almost all the time. And there are some times when we just get so into the getting a new card, but just like the process of the game, that we just like stop talking for a little while in like a good way.
Well, we enjoy talking too during games, so
We do, yeah. But
So
that
that's-
one, I feel like it's just so laid bare what your options are, and it's so simple. Just like you're only doing the one thing, so you're never like, oh, is it my turn? Like they did something, so
Yeah.
that's it. So, but I do really enjoy the game.
Boom.
Okay, so now Ganymede. We'll close our eyes because we'll pretend like we don't know how this is gonna go. Here we go. Eyes are closed. And set. Open.
How? Okay. How on earth did you give Ganymede the same rating as Century Golem?
Okay, I take that back. No thumbs up or down
For Ganymede?
For Ganymede.
Alright.
But leaning towards a thumb up. So like neutral, but leaning towards good.
Needless to say, I'm a little judgy when it comes to this game. Because it's the worst.
A little. I don't know. I think it's like Century, but there are more dials to be twisted. Like there are more things that you can. I like Century a lot, but there are more ways you can go about. Like if you're not if you're not constructing golems in Century, you're just going to lose. Like there's no other way to win that game. But in Ganymede, there are actually a couple different strategies you can go for. I don't know that they're all equal, but there are strategies. But
Got it. Okay.
anyways, well, before we adjourn,
Are we doing the best and the worst rating for each game now?
yeah,
Got it.
bookend time, buddy. Ooh, fingerprint page.
Nice.
So a 1 and usually a couple 10 ratings from Board Game Geek about the games. So here's for Century Golem Edition. Or do you want to do?
Let's start with Ganymede. We can't end this
Okay.
episode on Ganymede.
Okay. It's translated from Korean. So it just says, among the games that are similar to Splendor, this is the most similar to Splendor. The icons may seem very intuitive, but they are not.
Nope.
1. I feel like that's like an extreme, like it's the most similar to Splendor, which I would push back on pretty hard.
Is that a game?
Like Splendor, the one where you have like the gems and those like poker chips. I think you've only played Splendor once. Anyway, it's a, people say like Century is like what's better, Century Spice Road or the Golem one or Splendor, and they're like they're not honestly that similar, but they're in that same vein of like very simple actions to build up your engine and get stuff. So anyways, like it being similar to Splendor and the icons aren't intuitive, and it's just like 1. That's, I feel, unfair. But anyways, 9.5 rating, all caps, top core. End of review.
Does it say who did that?
It does. They're from the United Kingdom. I won't say their name.
Oh, well. You're wrong.
It starts with an M.
Moron.
So from France, deceptively simple game with a lot more depth than it looks. We simply can't stop playing with my friends. It can be enjoyed by more casual players as well, and it's beautiful.
What score did they give it?
10. And then the last one, also from France, best intermediate game I've played this year. Always a good choice to play with my family, like Century.
Intermediate? It ain't intermediate.
So those are bookends for Ganymede. Here is from a couple from Canada for Century.
Canada.
Spice Road is badly broken, and I doubt this will be any different. Until they prove that they can properly balance a game's main mechanism, this rating will remain.
Wait, have they even played it?
I don't...
That sounds like they're just like, well, I didn't like this, so I
Right.
bet this is... That's an unfair rating then. They didn't give it a shot.
To be fair, there are cards in Century that are just better. Like you start with a card that gets you 2 yellow.
Sweet.
There's a card that gets you 3. There's also a card that gets you 4. And they're just like, every card is not completely balanced against each other. And most of the time, the market accommodates for that because it comes from the right. So if you want to go, someone wants to get that awesome new card, they have to pay through the nose by putting crystals on all the other ones. I can see where he's coming from because sometimes some of those better cards are just right at the beginning of the market.
Yeah.
And then whoever goes first
Yeah.
gets to just sometimes get them for free or next to free. And then right from the beginning of the game, they just have one of the better or best cards in the game. But like, I don't know. It's not like win cards, It's not
No,
like,
you gotta know how to use them.
So anyways, 1.
Okay.
10. One of the best introductory / gateway games with resource management mechanic to introduce to all Euro games. I think it's a great. We've had a lot of fun with like gamery friends, but also family members who like are not necessarily super gamery, and yeah, it's a blast. And then the last one from Budapest, Hungary, simply amazing? ? I don't know.
Is
Something
it?
that starts with an S from Hungary. You tell us. They did with a 10 rating, I suppose. So I won't give you Ganymede because that would just be mean. That is episode 2 of Frost Talk with our
Oliver
extra
Frost.
co-host here. So thanks for tuning in
Yeah.
to hear what we have to say about a game that we both like a lot. That netted what, 3 thumbs up, and one that netted
And a baby.
that's right.
3 thumbs up and a baby.
3 thumbs and a baby, and this one got -1 net thumbs up. So, I thought this was going to be more of a in our wheelhouse, but
Me too. That's what's so disappointing. But
maybe we'll just have to give it another shot.
no,
I knew that was going to be the answer.
no, I've given it enough shots.
Have you given it a moonshot though? Ew.
I feel like taking too many shots after playing it.
Fair.
Oh boy.
I don't think he liked that one very much.
Don't worry, Mama's too old for shots.
Shot. Oliver Frost.
We're getting flu shots next week. What?
What? All right. Well, we're gonna
Check a diaper?
check a diaper. Yeah, to see if the phantom poop was actually real poop. It's double sneaky.
Maybe that's his rating for Ganymede.
A fart. So Century got
Slobber.
3 thumbs up and a baby.
And slobber.
And slobber. And Ganymede got -1 thumbs up
And a rank fart.
and a rank fart.
Till next time, guys.